There's 2 years left on EA's exclusivity deal on Star Wars games, and in the past 8 years, all they've released is 4 console games, one of them only being a AA game mind you, and about a handful of mobile games. Besides that, there is only one EA Star Wars game that is unofficially announced and won't be coming out for another 2 years. So what is EA playing at? For another 2 years, they have no competition for Star Wars games. There are pretty good reasons for this though. We're going to be diving into this and why EA is letting Star Wars gaming fans down. But before we get into it, hey, my name's Charlie, otherwise known as Family Bovine, and did you know just about 50% of you who watch our videos aren't subscribed? So be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on any Star Wars gaming news, especially with E3 right around the corner. But with that all said and done, let's dive into why EA is letting you down. EA's deal with Disney was never really a smooth one, with the deal originally being spearheaded by 2 different EA label presidents. EA CEO Andrew Wilson came into the position just a few months before the deal was finalized, and rumours were spread saying that he was not happy with that deal the moment they made it. Not many CEOs like to come into power on a big company when a huge decision has just been made before they have any say in it. So whilst we can only take this as rumours and speculation, many have said that the CEO of EA never really wanted to make Star Wars games in the first place. Not to mention, EA's Battlefront 1 was such a huge undertaking in terms of engine building that they needed to extend the engine's lifespan to recoup their money. That's why many believe Battlefront 1 was quickly overtaken with Battlefront 2 with a much longer lifespan. To make things worse, EA was actually taken to court over the loot box controversies of Battlefront 2, with some countries fining EA up to 10 million for violating the country's Betting and Gambling Act. And to top it off, Disney executives were not happy with the controversies linked to Star Wars Battlefront 2. There is no doubt that Project Battlefront was a huge undertaking and a big risk for the company, and unfortunately it definitely did not go smooth, so much so that perhaps EA were just stung a little bit too much from it. Whatever it was, in 2017 there was a big turning point for EA when it comes to Star Wars games. Let's go all the way back to 2016, before Battlefront 2 was released, where they discuss about what Star Wars games will be coming out under EA. And if you compare this article to where EA is right now, it's such a big difference. In this newsletter, they talk about more DLC coming to Battlefront 1, Star Wars Galaxies of Heroes mobile game rolling out worldwide with more content updates, a new installment for Battlefront 2 coming out in 2017, the action-adventure game by Visceral Games coming out in 2018, which was then cancelled, and then beyond that, they were talking about Jedi Fallen Order being made by Respawn Entertainment just after they purchased them. Imagine getting an article like this today. It's just not possible. Here you can see EA has multiple projects underway, and honestly it all ended up being pretty underwhelming for them because they cancelled that amazing Visceral Games project and then cancelled a Star Wars Battlefront spin-off back in early 2020. So it definitely feels this was a response to the huge negativity that came to Battlefront 2 and all the legal repercussions that came with it. So now that history lesson is all said and done, let's look at what's happening in the present and sometime in the future. So with all the information we have, we can make a very strong educated guess that the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order will be revealed at E3, and a possible secret AA project that is in the works with EA. But honestly, I would say get ready to be disappointed. I really don't mean to be a cynic, but it's very evident that EA has put a lot of time and focus into the DICE studio because Battlefield 6 is just around the corner, and they are very much focused on that series of games right now, which actually is really frustrating and why I'm really disappointed with EA, because we haven't seen a peak of interest like this in proper Star Wars fans in a long time now. Yes, the peak of interest has been higher when Star Wars films came out, but many true hardcore Star Wars fans were just not that impressed by the films. But when it comes to The Mandalorian and The Bad Batch, I haven't seen this many hardcore Star Wars fans be this excited for more content in a very long time. So the fact that EA is just missing out on this opportunity, especially when their contract has 2 more years left in it, is just a real massive disappointment. And honestly, it feels like a slap in the face considering we have to wait another 2 years before we can get other studios to release their Star Wars games, when EA does the bare minimum for the rest of their 2-year contract. Like, it'll be a night and day difference when their contract officially ends in 2023. Now, I do understand the counter argument to this, where people are worried that there may be too many Star Wars games, and a handful of those might be really bad. Let's not forget now, Masters of Teräs Käsi on PS1 and the glorious Angry Birds 1 and 2, but I'm actually not that worried. Games take a lot longer and a lot more money to make now, so I am comfortable in knowing companies will probably take more calculated risks when it comes to Star Wars games. But the fact that the last proper Star Wars game that we got was Star Wars Squadrons, which was a spin-off of the Battlefront engine, by the way, and had a production time of about 2.5 years, which is really short for a game like that, by the way. It's very clear EA definitely wants to take minimal to no risks at all. Besides, why would they want to? Galaxies of Heroes earns them literally $1 billion a year. Why would they worry about making console games? And that's honestly the one thing that sucks the most. We have no Star Wars games that has a live service on console or PC. The only one we have is Star Wars Galaxies of Heroes, which is a very evident pay-to-win scheme. So it just sucks for Star Wars gamers right now, because EA still holds that exclusivity right with an iron fist and is making it very clear they're more interested in making Battlefield 6 than a huge franchise at its peak. There could be a scenario where Star Wars fatigue happens in the next 2 years. That audiences have had just a bit too much of the Star Wars universe and they want to shift their focus to something else. That might happen by the time EA has lost their exclusivity rights, and then we're now in a lull and Star Wars games just won't perform as well as they should have. That's what I'm most worried about here, and it definitely looks like EA is abusing that. The other theory is that perhaps Disney was making it very hard for EA to make Star Wars games because they may be very strict with how they want the canon storyline to unfold. But in an article in 2019, Disney executives praised EA for their contribution to Star Wars games. And that news alone made people speculate that they were going to renew their contract with EA. Thankfully they didn't, and as for the theory for Disney being difficult, I really don't think so. Jedi Fallen Order was a brilliant example of telling a genuine Star Wars story, and there was very little friction from Disney on that. So much so that many people were speculating Cal would appear in The Mandalorian. Now let's move on to the elephant in the room, Battlefront 3. The fact the team is not working on a Battlefront 3 absolutely bewilders me. Battlefront 2 update stopped in 2020, and that would have given them enough time to put another Battlefront 3 in pre-production a year before that, and have that game out for next-gen consoles by 2021 or 2022, and that's just not coming. Despite all of the numerous evidence that people were coming in to work for Battlefront 3, there's no official word for it. And the fact that they're not working on a Battlefront 3 is just insane to me. It really is. They made a huge comeback with Battlefront 2, and they could have rode that success into the next game. That mixed with Jedi Fallen Order 2 would have been a recipe for success for EA. And yet here they are, fully focused on Battlefield 6, which will probably cover them all the way until the end of the contract with Disney. It just really sucks. Especially the fact that they have just cancelled so many games out of fear that they've already tarnished their reputation with Star Wars games, thanks to the beginning of Battlefront 2's release. So I'll be surprised if we hear anything about that Battlefront spin-off game at EA Play 2021. Expect EA Play 2021 to focus entirely on Battlefield 6, and they might sneakily drop in a Jedi Fallen Order 2 trailer right near the end. But as for that, don't expect any more Star Wars news from EA. I genuinely believe Jedi Fallen Order 2 will be their last Star Wars game before their exclusivity runs out. And that is a big downer. EA had perfect opportunities to enter back into the Star Wars gaming market, and they've refused to do so. And that is why you should be really disappointed in EA letting you down when it comes to Star Wars games. If you're interested to learn more about EA's behavior when it comes to Star Wars games, I've included all of the articles for research on this video in the comments down below, and there you can form your own opinions. Either way, let's really hope Star Wars Hunters is a success, because if it isn't, we've got a long wait until a proper Star Wars live service game comes out. Well, that pretty much wraps up today's video. What's your thoughts and opinions on it? Do you think EA has released just enough games to keep you satisfied? Or do you feel like there hasn't been enough and you've been really disappointed about the fact that you have to wait another 2 years until the exclusivity rights ends? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. I read all of them and I'll try to get back to some of you as well. But besides that guys, I've been Charlie, you've been watching X2, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care guys.